it was phase one, man. What about you, P?
Yeah, I mean, we both work in healthcare, so we both
Mm-hmm.
been working the whole time. It ain't like we've been staying home or working from home. So we've been out on the front lines this whole time, and I mean, we still really see is the dangers of this stuff. So yeah, of course, you know, I'm still moving the same way right now, and I will advise other people to move with caution. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because people got to realize people going out doing what they want to do, and then they coming back and reinfecting other people who chose to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Is what you got to kind of think about. You going to the beach this weekend, but then you coming to work Tuesday. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So it's something to think about. I ain't saying that's that's guaranteed, but it is something to think about when we trying to contain and control and get rid of this COVID-19.
Yeah, man. And I just remember like when you brought up the beach just now, I just remember it's Memorial Day weekend too, man. I'm kind of scared about that, man, because it's like I know how Memorial Day weekend is, just on a when everything is good, but I'm curious as to what it's gonna look like tomorrow. Like I gotta work on Memorial Day tomorrow, but I'm just wondering if these beaches are gonna be crazy packed, man.
Yeah, without a doubt, and you ain't seen no reports. I mean, I,
No.
I personally know a few people that's at the beach right now, but yeah, it's like I said, man. Some people have been a long time coming, and Memorial Day weekend it's a tradition, and they will not break. What I'm saying, so
Yeah.
yeah, the beaches, yeah, they wide open right now, brother.
Oh
You know
man.
what I'm saying? I don't know like what regulations they got down there, but people definitely hit the ocean this weekend.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Well,
definitely.
yeah, well, I know, like I said, I'm gonna continue to do what I do, and I know you are, try to play
Yeah.
it safe, man. But we still been following boxing. Like I said, we will never stop this thing. But today, man, like, want to do something a little bit different. We want to just talk about this topic in general that it covers. To me, it covers every era of boxing. It's the one thing about boxing that never changes, and I think without it, we wouldn't have the champions that we have today, man. And that one word it all ties to is dedication, man. Dedication
Yeah.
in boxing, I think you can have power, you can have strength, you can have gifts, but dedication is like that one thing that you need. Like when you first hear that word, P, what what does it make you? What does it make you say about boxing? Like what's the marriage of it between boxing and dedication? How important is it to you?
Um, I mean, it's a key element of boxing. To me, if you're not dedicated, you definitely um you won't last long. But it makes me think when I think about dedication in boxing, it makes me think back of the throwback fighters and who just did the basic fundamentals of training. They didn't have nutritionists, they didn't have all these supplements, they didn't have these state of the art gyms, but they still managed to be dedicated and disciplined. And you fast today, during the quarantine, you know, it's kind of like people been finding every excuse not to be dedicated. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, when I think of the word, I think to the throwback fighters back in the day where they was chopping wood, doing road work, jumping rope, just the simple basic elements and fundamentals of boxing training.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up like even looking back at these different eras because their objective it's the same as today. It should never change. It was always I'm trying to be the best. But when we look at today's fighters, when you say like cut corners, that's why I said dedication is that one thing that never changes because to me, being dedicated to being stuck to that task, that's the one thing that you really want to do. That never changes. You can never cut that corner. there ain't never been,
I mean,
there's never gonna be a shortcut. I mean, there's
eh,
been
eh,
shortcuts for, you know, how to deposit your money in the bank now online, but that's just to make little things simpler. But when it comes to actually trying to get something that you really have to work hard for, like in this sport, you know, this grueling sport, you know, that never changes.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, gym's clothes shouldn't stop you from training or being dedicated. You know what I'm saying? There's other things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, the word, it's a deep word, you know what I mean? Because it depends on the person. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some people, they say they're dedicated, but in their mind they may be dedicated, but you notice when people are really dedicated to their craft, whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? Because they shine. You know what I'm saying? They shine above the, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And that dedication is a key part of it. You know, I mean, you can't be a scrub and nothing and be dedicated, and you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
It's more to it than that, but you know, dedication is a key part in almost attaining anything that you really want. But like I say, just speaking on today's um fighters, not all of them, but some of them, we see a big lack of dedication. Is kind of what I'm saying, that in
Mm-hmm.
today's fighters, because they have all the bells and whistles and everything is customized for them.
Mm-hmm.
Where if if you want to be the best and it's all about you, why should we customize it for you? You know what I mean? You should go out and get it on your own if that's how you feel. But that's how they have the new fighters situated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They take care of everything for them. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah,
take care of everything for them. So dedication in today's boxing world is over that. What you think?
I think so. And here's a question for you. I'm gonna ask in just a second, but yeah, like going like to today's fighters on how they're dedicated. I don't really think they understand what their goal is. You know, I think some of the older fighters on how they were trained and some of the champions on how they were trained, they saw the sport being dedicated to boxing as a way to kind of better themselves. You know, I think it was a way of kind of build up and, you know, see a better them and show them that they go overcome certain things. You know, they weren't necessarily looking at the rewards yet. Of course, a lot of these fighters, you know, that was their only way of income. So, you know, they took the fighting to make money, but at the same time, they saw in the sport that this is something that could make me better as a person. You know, so my question to UP is, do you think that fighters are dedicated to the wrong thing nowadays?
Um, well, it's definitely a lot of distractions out there for fighters today, and if you weak minded, definitely the social media, um, and just pretty much the social media, because the social media is kind of like its own little celebrity. He doesn't know you. You could be known on social media, so um, we're seeing the fighters. We're seeing the lines getting blurred between networking on social media, or marketing or promoting your fights, as opposed to just promoting yourself. You know, we see some fighters who do a really good job at using it as a tool. A lot of fighters getting caught up into the social media world, which takes away from training, dedication, all the things that makes you a good fighter. Promotion is part of it, but promotion doesn't win fights.
Right. Yeah. It it kind of makes me feel like a lot of these guys reputation on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter. So they might say, if they might walk a certain walk and say, okay, man, this is what I'm actually kind of sticking to. This is what I'm dedicated to. I got to keep doing this. So my fans and my followers will build up, likes will go up. It's kind of like that line was kind of blurred when there's like, oh, this is what I'm doing it for. The sport, this is what I'm doing it for, just to impress people. You might try to get a certain physique just to get likes. You know what I mean? You
Right.
really don't understand what you're really your body. The well-being, taking care of yourself. Like, so what are you going to do the day your followers go away? You going to just stop working out or stop dedicating yourself to the sport?
Right. Right. Because it's like anything, man. If you're a fighter and you're not winning, then yeah, your social media presence and your clout and all that stuff goes down. I mean, it's only positive when you winning for a fighter. You know what I'm saying, on social media. So a fighter need to look at that and say, well, damn, before I hop on social media, I need to make sure I put my work in for the day because I need to stay winning to keep making this a pleasant experience. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, because trust me, if you losing, social media ain't a place for a loser.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean?
No.
So you got to keep that in mind, man. You got to keep that in mind. Like I say, I do see a few fighters that I do like the way they move on social media. Andre Ward for the most part. Terrence Crawford, the fighters out there that just keep it simple on
Mm-hmm.
social media. Not too personal, not too vague. Just give us a small glimpse inside their life, and what we see is positive. But it's a whole nother side of the fighters on social media. You know, with glimpse into their life we're seeing. When we scroll down their timeline or on their page or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's definitely created an animal for the newer fighters who don't really, like I say, who are not mature and really dedicated. You know what I'm saying? If you're dedicated, none of this stuff matters. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not a dedicated person, then yeah, these are the fighters we kind of see and getting caught up into, the social media um, fiasco that's going on right now.
Yeah, because when you think about it, like, you can kind of see it in different fighters. Like, the fighters you really don't see on Instagram too much, they are dedicated to the sport. They are really like dedicated to that life. They're saying that nothing else matters. That's kind of like the first sign that you see whenever a fighter's really about the sport. When those
Right.
when those gym doors close, they're like, I'm in there for however long it takes for the day. We are here to work. Nothing else matters. But sometimes you get the feeling that other fighters kind of let social media make them. You know what I mean? That's why they stay dedicated to the wrong thing. They stay true to Instagram instead of staying true to the gym. Like,
Right.
it's one thing to go put in the hard work and then show the results, but you showing them as you doing it. And I think that makes you just kind of play up to the camera. And again, that kind of like that just kind of separates the whole line there. Are you really in it for bettering yourself in the sport and just showing, that, hey, all this hard work is going to pay off? Or are you just in it for, a little bit of fans, a little bit of
Yeah.
glitz and
And,
glamour?
and it's a difference between um recording the workout, recording the sparring session, as opposed to doing stuff for the camera.
Right,
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So I do want to be clear on that. You know what I mean? And I mean that's part of learning, recording yourself and then going back and watching yourself, in action. And people learn that way, and I think it's a good learning tool to do that. But we talk about some people who might just be training because the camera on. You
Exactly.
know what I'm saying? Stuff like that,
Right.
or fancy stuff because the camera is on. You know what I mean? Looking into the camera. That's kind of more so what we talking about. You know what I mean? And even some of that is okay, but when that's all that you're doing, then it's not really okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And the flip side of it, and is I mean, you playing such a dangerous game. It makes you wonder why would a guy not want to be dedicated? You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you playing with your life literally in this sport. So I mean, for guys to even think about taking it lightly, and they do it all the time, every day. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? It's kind of, it's a little crazy.
And that's the thing I'm saying. Like, it's a lot of guys out here don't. It's we say you got to stay dedicated to whatever it is you do, but like boxing is the number one to me because your life's on the line. You know what I mean? Every
Yeah,
day. I know if you're a singer, you want to stay dedicated to your craft, your actor, but boxing is like you can't just go in there half-ass it because you half-ass it, that's your life, you know?
yeah. I mean, like you say, like a singer. I mean, a singer wants to take care of their voice, warm their voice up, don't smoke, don't do anything that's, detriment to the throat. Any profession, they want to take care of their tools that they make a living with. You know what I'm saying? And a fighter being dedicated keeps your tools sharp. If you don't keep your tools sharp, you know what I'm saying, they're not going to work properly. And if they're not working properly, you probably not going to win fights. And if you don't win fights, you know the rest of the story. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all of this stuff goes hand in hand. And I mean, and this goes for any professional athlete or anybody that's just serious about doing something in life. It's not just a sports thing; it's a life thing. Dedication is an important piece in the accomplishing any goal. For anybody. So you can't half-ass and expect to get results.
Oh yeah, yeah, I agree with that, man. Because just even thinking back to like you mentioned Andre Ward, Andre Ward was a fighter that I think how old is he? I think he was like 12 years old when he said he faced his first loss. And right then he just kind of focused again. He was like, he had this focus even at 12 that said, I didn't like the feeling of losing.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm never going to lose again. So he really made it his goal to say, I don't like this feeling. So every day I'm going to train hard or do whatever it takes to win. That's how competitive he became. He faced that
Hmm.
first loss. He was like, no, I can't ever do that. And when you go all the way from his career to Olympics to the super middleweight tournament, and that shows you how dedicated he was. He was willing to test his skills against anybody. In the super middleweight tournament, he was like, "Yo, I don't care who it is, I'll fight anybody there." He was able to
Right.
unify the titles, even go to light heavyweight and face, the best guy at light heavyweight. And now he kind of goes back and shows you the hard work and the rewards, and still not really like throwing it in your face. I'm just saying, just still going back and saying, hey, this is what dedication will get you. When you dedicate yourself to the sport and you know why you're fighting, it makes it a lot more. I think it kind of makes I won't say the road easier, but it'll make it a little bit more clear. The path is clear. If that makes sense. You'll kind of know what you're shooting for versus whenever you just kind of, oh, the fame is here, oh, the lights, I'm looking for the money. There's so many different paths. You don't know what to stay dedicated to. Are you fighting for the women? Are you fighting for the money? But Ward had a path that he said, okay, it's going to be a hard road, but I see it clear. I know the one thing is I want to stay on this undefeated streak, which he did.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, because at the end of the day, you are a fighter. You can like the women, you can like the jewelry, you can like all that, but none of that wins fights.
Yeah.
And like I say, being a fighter, if you're not winning, then it don't really mean nothing. So a fighter wants to be a champion. He wants to be known as a winner. So it's just like, Andre Ward, like you said, dedicated himself to the sport. Andre Ward had drugs thrown at him. He had women thrown at him. He had parties thrown at him. He had all that stuff thrown at him. You know what I'm saying? But he made a choice. You know what I'm saying? He made a choice. now that he's done with his career, you look back and you see Andre Ward got a beautiful family, beautiful home, doing things outside of boxing, not taking punishment, still got all his faculties. I mean, who can say that he's not a winner? You know what I'm saying? Who can
Mm-hmm.
say he's not a winner?
Mm-hmm.
You know, retired, the under 40. Who can say he's not a winner? Eh? So it's all about you. You know what I'm saying? Andre Ward, he's not a billionaire. You know, he's not the most popular fighter, but he's comfortable with where he's at and deserved and fought for everything that he got. Wasn't given anything. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? But he's definitely like a true advocate of the sport. You know what I'm saying? A good representation of the sport. You know what I mean? When you want to look at a guy in the modern era of boxing who really, you know, shows what the sport is all about.
Mm-hmm. And I think, like I said, it kind of made his path clear all the way even to the end of his career. Because it's like, I know it's only been 3 years since he has been retired, and we don't know if he will come back. But I could almost say that I'm pretty sure that he won't come back. And I think for the fact is because that since he did dedicate his whole life to the sport, and he did everything, just about everything he wanted to and accomplished it. I think it kind of fills that void that a lot of fighters they can't feel. You know,
Absolutely.
you seen some of the biggest champions. It's hard for them to stay away. You know, they'll leave for a year, they'll come back. They they don't know when to leave because they don't really understand, you know, what it was they were fighting for. You know, granted, some of them just want to fight because of the fighter spirit, but I kind of think that whenever you have given yourself to the sport for for the real reasons that you really wanted, and you know, and you were able to accomplish, I think it's a lot. I think the results are a lot better. You know, I think the results are going to be a lot better for you. You know, because Ward, like I said, man, like he shocked me when he retired in 2017. You know, but then when I
Mm-hmm.
thought about it, I was like, well, what else can he do? You know, what else can he really accomplish? He already proven everything. I think a multi-division world champion can do. What else could there be?
Right. Right. And I mean, and obviously he had accomplished the goals that he set for himself.
Mm-hmm.
What the problem is accomplishing goals was set for you. They always gonna set a goal for you. You gotta set your own goal and say, hey, I made it to what I wanted to do. I'm done. You know, they try to keep Andre there. Oh, what about this guy? What about that guy? You know how
Yeah.
they do everybody, but you know, he was confident in what he had accomplished already in his career and was able to not be tempted by that type of talk. You know what I mean? So you
Mm-hmm.
know that like I said, that's kind of important to know your self worth, and know that I've accomplished the goals that I've set out for myself. Not that society or the boxing world or whoever has set out for me, because they never satisfied. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? They want to see me lose and go to the next person. So I gotta know that in my mind, and you know what I'm saying. Know when I get to my point, then I'm happy. You know, I believe Andre Ward go through the same, you know, uh, same thing, feelings that other fighters go through. You know, missing it and stuff, but you know, got other stuff going on, family man. You know, commentating and just got other things going on in his life that are important to him as well. You know, I mean, I know Ben Askren, UFC fighter. He said that he retired, and he said that some other things that he wanted to do, and like coaching was like a big part of his happiness for him. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the accolade TVs or the belts. He had did that, but another big part of him was wanting to go back to the younger wrestler and give back. He said that made him happy, and just to know that you have that to do after the fight game, because the fight game probably after the way he went out really didn't show him a lot of love, but I'm sure the kids, that's kind of unconditional. You know what I mean? And you probably need
Yeah.
that balance, and because This is rough. This is a rough sport. You feel
Yeah.
me? Like I said, if you're not winning, you not nothing. You're only as good as your last fight, and it has to be a win. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
So
Yeah. That's how the fight game is with you. But like you're saying with the kids or the people who actually looked up to him, they can always take the good out of that fighter. They can always say, I can learn from that person's mistakes.
yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely.
And I want to ask you this too, man, from like your years of watching boxing and my years watching boxing too, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, what were like some signs that you seen in some fighters, whether it be today or before, like where you could tell they weren't dedicated at that one moment, no names specifically, but just like you could tell where they kind of led up somewhere, they were kind of lacking something that you feel like some of the younger generation they could kind of learn from.
Well, just like the pretty much the partying lifestyle can be intoxicating for
Oh yeah, yeah.
any young male. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the partying that goes along with the drugs and the women, and you had to be able to be in control of that stuff. And I mean, through the hours of seeing countless amount of fighters get caught up in all of that, whether it's drugs, whether it's women, but it all kind of fits under that umbrella of partying. And even up to today, we still see guys indulging when they probably shouldn't be. And throughout time, we've seen that proved not to be a good thing. The
Hmm.
guys that we've seen really shine were the guys that were dedicated. We didn't see them out partying. I mean, granted, in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, it wasn't the type of um, cameras and footage that we have today. Like now, you can't without being seen. But you know, I do remember being a kid, and they might show Mike Tyson out at the nightclub or Spinks Brothers out at the nightclub. You know what I'm saying? We
Hmm.
did see Jet magazines and different. We seen um, different images of that stuff happening back then as well, but just not how we see it today because it's so everybody has a camera.
Yeah, all it takes is one passerby or one fan with the cell phone now. All your fans got
Right.
cell
Like,
phones.
like, like, like now it's big money to take a picture of somebody out somewhere.
Yeah.
It's business. It's business. You can make money off a picture. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
people are compelled, from being a fan and financially to, catch any image they can. But like I say, throughout time we seen partying. In my opinion, partying has been like a big downfall for the fighters. And I mean, and partying goes with lack of training, lack of discipline, lack of dedication. And
Hmm.
all goes under that umbrella. Because if you party and you don't feel like getting up running, you party, you on drugs, you don't feel like doing the things that you need to do to be successful in the ring.
Hmm. Shoot.
What you think?
Oh
What
yeah,
you think? And the partying definitely is a you know
partying. Yeah, partying is definitely a big one because it's like you said, it kind of it. Well, I won't say it kind of. It does cut off that that concentration, that focus you have, because you got to remember when you say dedicated to a sport, you're dedicated to the sport until your career is over. You know what I mean? You can't let up. I mean, of course you can reap some of the benefits, rewards. You can have your little celebration guys. They think like I said, not naming
exactly.
fighters, but there's fighters out there that said when they won the heavyweight crown, it was like I felt like I was on top of the world. I was invincible. And they said that mountain of whatever it was they was snorting was right in front of them. They was like, yo, when I see it's
Exactly.
my lifestyle, I'm gonna do this every day. And then that's when they
Exactly.
forget that dedication it took to get where they were. They're thinking that this is going to be it every day. They already forgot that there's the hard work that you have to put in for the next fight, you know?
And I was about to say, it's a difference between celebrating and partying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Partying is like almost a lifestyle.
Right. Yeah.
Celebration, that's you're celebrating something. You had a victory that night. You're celebrating. I get it. You got this accolade. You got that accolade. You celebrating. I get it. But the partying is just what regular people do. We go to the club on Friday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we go out, we ain't even gotta be celebrating nothing. We just saying, man, we just heading out. But there's fighters like that. That's the number one thing they do. As soon as they leave the gym, or sometimes they ain't even make it to the gym, they going straight there. And trainers be looking at their watch, waiting for them. They're like, where's so and so
Right.
at? And I kind of tie that into what I was going to say is a sign of lack of dedication. Is guys that lose their belt in the first title defense. Right there, I already can tell you that's a fighter that ain't dedicated anymore. He kind of lost the connection of why he was doing it. When he get the belt, it's like, oh man, like that's it. Like I don't understand like how to keep the belt. I knew how to get it, but I don't understand how to keep it. I think whenever you understand the sport of boxing, you understand that what you're shooting for it's supposed to be yours the whole career. You fight for it and then you fight to defend it. But some guys just say, no, I'm just fighting for it to get it, and then I lose that high. I'm off that high now. So it's cool. We can party, whatever. Then boom, you get knocked out in your next in your first title defense, all because you were like, oh man, like it didn't feel the same.
And honestly speaking, that if you come into the sport, you get into boxing at the right age that you're supposed to get into it, nice and early. You dedicate yourself, you blossom and peak when you're supposed to. I mean, by 30, you could be looking at retirement. At 31, 32, looking at with an accomplished career, and then you could party all you want. I just wanted to touch on like today. A fighter might say, "Well, shit, I got paid to go to the club." They paying semi celebrities to do walkthroughs and whatever. Okay, I get that, but if you think about it, had you dedicated yourself and not hit the club and dedicated yourself, you would have got a few million for this fight that you got coming up, and you would have won, which you would have got even more million for in your next fight. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to grabbing a couple dollars here and there for a walkthrough. I get it if your career is over. Yeah, then do all the walkthroughs you want. But while you in the game, that don't even really register. They pay me to come to that. Don't really register.
Mm-hmm.
No, and in my opinion, that what I'm saying.
It don't, because it'll put you in like a false light of yourself. You'll think you're bigger than you are.
Absolutely. And then you just, even if you're trying to refrain and be focused and dedicated, and you're surrounded by women, fine women, you're surrounded by drugs, you're surrounded by alcohol, you're surrounded by all these things that you know what I'm saying, major weaknesses. Why would you really want to be putting yourself in that situation too many times? Sometimes you're gonna have to go and dance sometimes, but I wouldn't want to be putting myself in that situation too much. You know what I'm saying? Because of the environment. You already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think that a lot of guys, let me see, how would I put this? I think, no, here's the question I wanted to ask you. Okay, so fighters being dedicated, like, and making sure that that's what they really want to do. They want to be, really focused on the sport. How important is it for you to have? How important is it for you to have the right people in your corner to stay dedicated?
In my opinion, is very.
Is your corner just as important to stay dedicated to sport? That's my question.
What you saying?
Is the people in your corner, is it just as important to stay dedicated to the sport, to boxing?
The people in your corner, is it just important for them to stay dedicated?
No, is it important to have the right people in your corner?
Oh, absolutely, man. And I mean, in the right people in your corner, in my opinion, are going to be people that's going to tell you the truth, and you know what I'm saying. I mean, you can be dedicated all you want, but if you're not telling me the truth, then all that don't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have somebody that's honest with you who can tell you the truth. You know, that's the problem. It's a lot of dedicated yes men right now, and you know what I mean.
Oh
They
yeah.
dedicated, but they yes men. You feel
Oh yeah.
me?
Oh yeah.
So you need a guy who is going to look out for you and maybe go against or say some things that you don't want to hear sometimes. You know what I mean? I think that's a big thing that's going on right now. You know, I mean, I think the people dedicated, they be there all the time. They always there. They on the money train, but they yes men. They
Mm-hmm.
won't tell you what you need to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're kind of like they're like guys like that. They're mostly like dedicated to riding that train, like you said. They just trying to ride it right now, so they dedicated to say, let me stick it out with him. I'm gonna be here every day with
Yeah.
him until he
Yeah.
falls off.
Or whatever he say, go. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
I'm not gonna
right.
question anything. I'm not gonna cause no waves. So, which is I mean, that's a problem too.
But then you got guys like a Emmanuel Stewart or like even a Virgil Hunter that are dedicated to making the guy better. Like Andre, again,
Right,
their
right,
relationship was
right.
like a perfect example. Like he wasn't there to just ride the train and say this is my best fighter. No, he was there to make him better because he saw the potential in him. So it was like, if you do something wrong, I'm gonna tell you do something wrong. Like early in his career, he said how Andre Ward used to try to leap in like Roy Jones and do the Roy Jones move. Virgil Hunter told
Mm-hmm.
him straight up, man, you do that stuff, you get knocked out because you ain't fast as Roy. He told
Right.
him, he told him straight up, you gotta craft a style that fits your physique and your body, and that right there, that's like to me, those are just like key words that set you off when you got when you got the right person in your corner that wants to better you.
I mean, another good example, and in today's boxing is, Mark Breland. Even though he knew um, that was a big no for Wilder, but him being dedicated to Wilder as a fighter and caring about him as a man, he threw the towel in, and that's what I'm saying. You need people that are going to go against you sometimes and do the right thing, and that's a good example, in my opinion, of being dedicated.
Yeah.
Having the right people in your corner. With that, the stance that Mark Breland just took in the Wilder Fury rematch.
Hmm. Even like just going back to when he stopped the fight, you
Right,
know.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's what I was. Yeah, when he stopped the fight, that's what I'm saying. That was he had straight orders not to do that, but he had to go against
yeah.
what Wilder said. You know what I mean? Because he
Hmm.
cared about Wilder as a man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, right,
And
right.
so that's what I was saying. That's why I was saying.
Hmm.
That's people in your corner. You know
Definitely,
what I
man.
mean? Another guy might have just let him get knocked out. He said, "Yo, Wilder said don't do it." You know what I mean? Other guys might have just let that happen. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, all right. I got a good question for you, Pete. I'm gonna ask you this as part of the topic, man. If you were a trainer, like what are some signs of a fighter that you want to see to really show them that, man, this kid is he really wants to box. He's dedicated to this, man. Like I can tell he really wants to do this. He really wants to do this. For what would be something you really look out for, like a key attribute in a young kid that you were just training, man?
A skill set or just like an attribute?
Attribute, just something he does that makes you say, I can tell he wants to do this.
Well,
The long
what
haul.
one of the main things would be consistency, showing up on time
Mm-hmm.
and showing up on a regular basis. And then, in my opinion, his willingness and eagerness to learn. If you show a guy something one time and next week he come back, he done mastered it. In my mind, that makes me think that this guy, he's on the right path. That's the results I want to see. Now if he didn't master it in a week, that's fine too. But if a guy did master it in a week, that's what I want to see. You know what I mean? A guy who can take what I teach him or give him, build on to that and do more. So maybe next week I showed him something. Next week he come back doing what I showed him and added a little bit of pizzazz to it. Just going that extra mile, that extra step to me, but definitely being consistent. You know what I'm saying? Consistent. You know what I mean? You can't show up one day, not show up another day. You need to kind of be regimented on time, man, because fighting is about a bunch of schedules, making weight,
Mm-hmm.
doing a lot of things that take discipline and take dedication. So I need to see that in the beginning before we even go further, and I already know it's not gonna work. You know what I mean? If you can't make it past first base, it ain't no point in, even playing the game, to
Yeah.
be honest, because it only get more and more realer the further you go. And I mean, you talking about you can't make weight in the beginning, that's one thing. You get on a big scale and don't make weight, that might cost you $1 million.
Mm-hmm. Cause you get
So yeah,
fined, get your belt. Mm-hmm.
title, $1 million. So I don't want to wait till we championship status to realize you're not disciplined. You know what I'm saying? Or you falling off the wagon. So those are some of the things just off the top of my head, ain't that would, like, pique my interest and make me say, hey man, this kid is, or this guy's really serious about this. And you know, outside of his skill set, his work ethic and his attributes are what you need to be good at this sport.
Mm-hmm. I think yeah, I agree with those definitely. I think for me it would kind of be the same thing, but I say if I had to break it down, like as far as what I see, it would definitely have to be somebody like when you tell them to be somewhere, like hey, be here 6 in the morning. They're there like 5. They're there
Mm-hmm.
at 5:30 in the morning. They're showing you that they want to make sure they're there in time to understand their surroundings, understand what they're getting into, and already kind of give themselves time to prepare for what's to come. They're not showing up at 6 o'clock or 6:05 or 6:10, and you waiting on them. It's almost like they're waiting on you. Um, I think another thing is just asking questions. It kind of you want to have a kid or see a kid that's asking questions because they really want to understand it. They're
Mm-hmm.
really trying to find out what they're doing wrong or why they do this and how they do this and what purpose are we throwing a jab like this for? Just stuff like that. And I think it's to just them sometimes taking matters into their own hands, not necessarily like going against what you say, but knowing that they have to do something. Like say if you tell them to throw this way, oh well, they kind of craft something for their own sake because it works for their
Right.
body. Just little
Exactly.
stuff like that. I want to see somebody take matters into their own hands. Like you don't have to call them every morning to get them ready to the gym. Again, going back to that, they're up because they chose to. They're drinking more water. They're eating certain things to stay on their weight because they want it. You're just kind of there to give them some advice and give them tips on what they should do, but no, they're already doing their own research. I think that's another thing, that's kind of some things that I would say, man, like, yeah, that kid right there, he's somebody you'd want to stick with, not somebody
Right.
just out there being flashy already. No, they're willing to kind of be humble and humility, face humility and build from the ground up.
Right. I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, and mind you, from my perspective, that's in a perfect world, of course, most guys won't come with all those attributes, which
Mm-mm.
don't mean that they won't be a champion or they won't succeed. But the question was, what are some things that you would like to see? So
Right. Yeah.
we just broke that down, but we seen fighters who don't show none of that stuff and still went on to be a world. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just that's how the game is. It's no blueprint to the game. I mean, there's certain things that you can't get around, and hard work and dedication, commitment, clean living. You know what I'm saying? Discipline. Those are things you can't get around. You can't balloon and weight. You can't
Mm-hmm.
drinking and smoking and partying and doing all the things, getting in domestic disputes, getting locked up. You can't do all those things
Mm-hmm.
that take away from your focus on being sharp in the ring. I mean,
Yeah.
one misstep could cost you. So
Even like with certain things in training, the more and more technology changes, there's different things where they can cut corners with, cardio. You might add a little something to cardio. They might take away something, but you can't come up with a new way to have somebody else dedicated for you. That dedication to the sport always stays the same, man.
right, right, right. I mean, even with the new technology, the guys that are dedicated, they going to the next level, man.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I mean, dedication to take you this far, and you got dedication and add technology.
Well, what does this do? How can I get my hands on this? You know, this is what I need to be doing. They're always
Right.
the ones that want to get firsthand in it and make sure they're in it. But saying, talking to one MMA fighter, they were saying like, their words were like, I don't do much, because I'm dedicated to the sports, eating, sleeping, and just fighting. I'm eating, sleeping, and training. I'm eating and sleeping and training. That's all I'm doing because this is what I want to do. So other stuff has got to be cut out. So when you're with that sport, that's another thing people understand, that that's that one thing you're going to be doing. But it's like you said earlier, retire by 30 or 31 if you do it right.
Mhm. Mhm.
If
And
that's
and
all you want to do.
yeah, and have the whole second half of your life to enjoy. I mean, and mind you, some people come into the fight game with families and stuff like that, but I'm just saying, if you can hold off to a good 30, 31,
Mm-hmm.
then you can do it fairy tale style. You know what I'm saying? But it's not the type of thing where in the workforce you gotta work till you're 60.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, boxing is you on the fast track. You know what I mean? But you can acquire and attain a lot of things in a short amount of time and set yourself up real good. And then you got by 30, which is still extremely young,
Oh
to
yeah.
enjoy your life. If you got a family, enjoy your kids. I mean, to be honest, the last thing I would want to do being a fighter and had to come home and my kids had to see me battered and bruised. That's one thing I still don't get. The kids coming to the fight and them having to come home and look at their daddy looking like a monster. That's something that I don't think kids should really be exposed to because they don't understand, and that's something that can stick with them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's just me, though. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. But like you say, if you do it right, you could, be out the game under 35 and still live a really good life.
Yeah, man. That's why I say there's a lot of guys now. That's why I say that clock is ticking with a lot of these guys who are kind of waiting around, marinating for big fights. I was like, man, you get it now, or you get it maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you'd be set. You know, you'd be set. Y'all would be good. But sometimes the longer you stay around, it's you know.
Of course. Of course. I mean, it's like anything in life, though, man. You put the work in, put the hard work in early, and then you don't have to worry. The
Mm-hmm.
same thing with the fight game. You put the hard work in. working hard, dedication, training. The rest will come. Man.
Oh, definitely, man. But yeah, man, before we do wrap this one up, man, like I'm saying, we just kind of want to touch on something different with y'all, on the one timeless attribute that every fighter needs is just to be dedicated. But if you could name one fighter, P, that just you always said was that guy who stayed true to the sport to really get what they want, who would it be?
I mean, it's just like a no-brainer, man. I mean, when I think of dedication, I think of somebody like a Floyd Mayweather. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's just. I mean, of course, there's other dedicated fighters, but when I think about a guy who, to the world, might have seemed like he partied and did all the wrong things during his career, you know what I'm saying? And that's how he was able to stay on top all this time by clean living, hard work, and dedication. But like I said, that's the first fighter that comes to mind that in that question. But it's a million more fighters out there who definitely been dedicated to the sport.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I guess the better way to put it would be like what really like what made Floyd stand out above the rest with his. I mean, it wasn't just that saying hard work and dedication. It was like he came to terms with saying that after he showed it,
Right.
he was really able
Right.
to
Right.
stand above the rest
Right.
of the fighters. And, he was like,
Right.
well, people probably say, well, what kept you in the sport for so long, and how did you make it so far as an undefeated fighter? Well, hard work and dedication. I mean, and yeah, everything he's shown, everything from training to 3 in the morning, even after the club, not drinking, not smoking, everything, he stayed dedicated to keep that body fit for what he knew he needed to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
see a lot of
Yeah.
fighters do that though. Yeah.
Yeah. Being strong enough to go to the club and
Yeah.
be around some of these things and still not get sidetracked. You know what I mean? He was able to do that. Every fighter not gonna be able to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
for 3 decades, 2-3 decades in the fight game, he we seen him do that. But the one thing that we would have to equate to dedication is, I mean, being undefeated and lasting that long in the game. We know by all means it's a dangerous game.
Yeah.
Anything can happen at any given time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So for him to go out on top and still be on top and relevant in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
like I say, he's one of the first fighters to pop into my head, and because I mean, he's so in your face with the dedication thing because he takes pride on that. And
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, that is his slogan: hard work, dedication. But it's not just a slogan; it's something that it's a mantra. It's something he really lives by.
It's a lifestyle for him. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And I will say another fighter that do come to mind too, just because I'll let young fighters know that's coming up now. Like, now, just because let's say if you lost, that don't mean you gotta break your dedication. I mean, losing is a part of it. So I definitely say somebody like Lennox Lewis, because he was
Mm-hmm.
a guy who faced 2 knockouts. He showed that if you kind of break concentration once, like even against Hassan Rahman, one time you lose it, hey, you could lose it that one night, but he got back on the path and was able to beat both of the guys that knocked him out. So, it's gonna be a bumpy road, no doubt, but I'm just saying, like,
Exactly.
I just want them to know
Exactly.
that
Yeah, like,
you can't go through the
but
whole thing
and
undefeated.
now that you said that real quick, you got Bernard Hopkins,
Yeah.
dedicated, fighter. You got Vladimir Klitschko, knocked out a few times, went on to have like the longest, one of the longest heavyweight reigns. So, like I said, it's a million more you can think of who definitely, fit into that dedication piece, for whatever reason, or showed it in a different way. But like you say, I mean, Lennox Lewis, knocked out 2 times, but still went on to be one of the greats. I mean, it's just, dedication don't mean you're not going to lose. You're not
Right.
going, you know what I'm saying, get
Oh yeah,
knocked out,
yeah.
man. Let's clear that up. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, that's why you tell the young
listen,
groups,
you know,
don't think
yeah,
that,
Floyd, he happened to do it, and we praise him for that, and we marvel at him for being able to do that. But that's not
mm-hmm,
a prerequisite, and most people are not going to do that. That's
mm-hmm,
raising the bar really high. You know what I mean? But dedication don't mean you can't have a loss, or you know, you can't become dedicated. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Right, right.
So
Just don't want them thinking that, oh, comes with it, forever. Nah, man. We just want to
yeah,
say, it comes with it, but it's a rocky road to it, man. But yeah, bro.
exactly.
Though I think we covered some pretty good points about this topic, though. But was there anything else you wanted to talk about? Anything else in boxing that caught your eye lately, man? Nothing much, right? I mean, we get the same talk.
Yeah, yeah, just a lot of talk right now, and that's why we kind
Yeah.
of chose to just do a random kind of broad topic about the sport, not about what's going on in the sport. It's not a whole lot of stuff in the sport. It's in concrete, and it's a lot of speculation. It's not a whole lot that you're hearing from the horse's mouth. A lot of speculation and social media stuff. So, nothing, man. Just looking forward to getting back to some normalcy in boxing. I mean, we don't really hear a timeline or really know what's what's going to happen. I mean, we hearing some stuff for September, but
I heard some June. I heard some June 19th dates too, man. Like June
that's some
9th.
June 19th things.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nothing solid. I think if it happens,
so
it's gonna be another closed type venue, but nothing really solid though.
yeah. Well, I'm sure that's just like going to be the new wave, man. It'll be a while before we probably see some crowds or whatever, which is something to think about. No live gate. That's a lot of money that won't be coming in, but I don't know. It's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be tricky for boxing, man. It's gonna be
Yeah.
tricky to pay a guy 30 million for a fight and ain't no live gate. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah.
like I said, I'm looking
That's where the
forward
Bucks
to.
come in.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tricky to fighters used to getting boxers used to getting certain types of paydays. So, like I say, man, I'm just looking forward to seeing how they unroll boxing in the new era. You know what I'm saying? Boxing post COVID-19.
Yeah, I mean,
But that's it, man. That's it.
oh,
Like I say, man, I don't really have no thoughts. No, I don't know what to expect. I'm just kind of sitting back anticipating.
okay. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like I just been kind of, satisfying the fight fix with the UFC, since the UFC's got cards on cards right now. They got one coming up the 30th. They got another one coming up June 6th. So, I'm just kind of staying busy with the fights over there. But I think that if boxing wants to come back in any type of way, they might have to find some kind of blueprint the same way the UFC's doing, maybe fix salaries for a little bit, and they have to go with that. Cause yeah, when you brought that up about the money, man, just those ticket sales and everything, man, that's a big part of it, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of
Yeah,
it, man.
especially
But
when you're talking about the paydays they get at.
yeah, those paydays are gonna be going down a little bit, man. And I think that's a part of dedication, though. If you want to be in that sport, though, you might just take that pay cut for a while. So, you know, they're gonna have to ride with that. But yeah, man. Other than that, man, just chilling out the rest of this Memorial Day weekend. Like I said, I ain't gonna be doing too much though, bro.
Yeah, same here, man. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody out there. But I ain't
Yeah.
doing much. I'm off tomorrow. Be doing some grilling and just chilling, man. I'm out messing with the drone and working out and messing with the dog. So I be entertained. I'm all right.
Yeah,
I'm
I
all
am
right.
too, man. I got my stacks of movies, man. You seen the movie stack here, so I ain't I
Oh
ain't
yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
ain't bored.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I definitely been moving it up and YouTubing it up, and like I say, I'm all right, brother. I'm all right.
All right, cool. But before we do go fully bounce, I know you posted on the Jab Effect too, man, about the young kid that was kind of sad, Darius, man. Could you fill everybody
Yeah,
in just a little bit before
yeah,
we
man.
bounce, man?
And you broke up for a second.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, before we go, like I saw you posted on the page about the young kid Darius. I was just wondering if you could fill in people a little bit on him and, just kind of give him a shout out.
Um, well, just one of the kids from Upton Boxing Center, who
Hmm.
actually works with Coach Calvin Ford. The past week he was shot, and he was in bad shape for a couple of days. The reports I'm reading, he's doing better. They say he's opening his eyes and he's moving a little bit. So it's just an unfortunate story. Um, but it's a common story in Baltimore, just the gun violence and
Hmm.
just these young kids losing their lives. And this is a kid who is trying to do something with himself, and still fell victim to some of the gun violence. So man, I definitely want to give a shout out to Darius, and keep him in my prayers. All of us keep him in our prayers and in our thoughts for a speedy recovery. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, definitely, man, definitely. But
yes,
that's the good news, though.
yeah, man. Still the details are still sketchy, different stories going around, but the one thing that seems to be consistent is he is doing better, and he should they said he should make a full recovery. So like I say, man, shout out to Darius, and we keeping you in our prayers, man.
All right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I hope he pulls through, man. Still got a lot of life ahead of him, man. But yeah. Before we do bounce, P, where can everybody follow you at, man?
Man, y'all can catch me on IG at P. Barnhill, and you can catch me also at Loud Pack Boxing on.
All right. So you can follow me on Instagram at all boxing everything and at Combo Breaker 99, and you can subscribe to Effect on YouTube and subscribe to me on Combo Breaker 99 as well. And yeah, man, just follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, The Jab Effect, and subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, and SoundCloud. And yeah, we got some new subscribers. Told me that they checking out the show now, P. So
Cool, cool. We
that's always
appreciate it.
good, man. That's always good.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, shout out to a young fighter coming up on Instagram, Hunter God of Thunder Kelly.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen him post and comment before.
Yeah,
Cool.
Hunter Michael Kelly. Yeah, that's his full name. He's an amateur fighter, so definitely want to give him a shout out. He been checking out the show. But yeah, man, appreciate that. But yeah, man. But we bounce like always. I'm Combo Breaker 99,
It's your boy Boxing P.
and we out y'all later.
Later.